And now we're going to the sacred cow of save money. And in 1971, President Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, basically took the world off the gold standard, and money was no longer money. So people are no longer saving money. So just to reiterate again, this is $300, what an ounce of gold was worth in the year 2000. So Kim, lift that. Okay. All right, and so this here is 1 ounce of gold in the year 2010, and it's now $1,100. Ugh, and this is why people are working so hard.
I can do it, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. Barely.
So the big reason I've said in my books for years that savers were losers is very simply because in 1971, the dollar stopped being money, it became debt. Right, Mike?
Yeah, the rules all changed in '71. Before then, somebody, when they became working age, they could expect to put away 10% a year, and by the time they got into their 60s, they could retire on their savings account and expect to live off that interest. And in '71, everything changed, and they started creating currency on a massive scale.
Worldwide.
Ever since then, worldwide. And that is what causes inflation and the loss of purchasing power. So people thinking that they can retire, you know, back in the 50s, if you got $100,000 or $50,000, you could retire on that,
Yeah.
you know.
So for my mom and dad, you know, the World War II generation, the industrial age generation, it was very smart to save money. For our generation, the baby boom generation and on, saving money could be the most stupid thing you can do because the system is stealing your wealth through the very thing you work for called money, which is not money anymore.
Right. Real money is actually gold and silver. Money has to maintain its value over long periods of time. Currency doesn't have to.
And this is
all
historically,
currency.
has always been, for thousands of years, this has been money.
5,000 years, this has been the predominant currency. It became money when somebody minted it into coins in Lydia in about 680 BC. And each unit had the same buying power as the next one. They became interchangeable.
So let me ask you this. This printing of money out of just paper, this has been tried before, hasn't it?
Many, many, many times, and there's always one result. You get far, far higher prices of everything, but especially real money. When they start creating a whole lot of currency, eventually, gold and silver lie in wait. And then when the public senses this inflation of retail prices that is caused by inflation of the quantity of currency in circulation, they rush back toward gold and silver, and they have for 5,000 years.
So name some governments that have attempted to print money.
The Weimar Republic. I don't know what I
Germany.
just did with that $100
What
trillion
about the
bill.
Zimbabwe? He's got a
The Zimbabwe, yeah.
Look at this one.
This is the most recent, a
Wait.
$100 trillion note. You know, this is the largest note ever printed,
And this
100 trillion.
And this was printed in 2000.
Yeah, but when Zimbabwe was created as a country, when it went from Rhodesia to Zimbabwe, they were, the Zimbabwean dollar was on parity with the US dollar. One US dollar was the same as a Zimbabwe dollar. This doesn't buy anything today. It doesn't buy a cup of coffee.
What, doesn't even buy a cup of coffee?
No. In fact, they have ruined it by putting ink on it. You can't write you can't write a list, so it would have been more valuable at this point if it was blank.
Right. See, the Greeks did the same thing when they started clipping coins. They just take the silver off of it. The Romans tried it, the English tried it, the Germans tried it, the Chinese tried it, and now the US is trying it.
Yep.
And so that's why saving money is probably the biggest mistake you could make right now, because today money is no longer money. It's now debt.
I can vouch for that because my leg is now numb.
So all currencies throughout the world are in trouble, the same way this Zimbabwe dollar is in trouble. And that's the problem with saving money. After 1971, it was no longer money.
More than 70% of all the currency on the planet is US dollars.
If the US dollar goes, the world goes with it.
I'm preparing by getting fully diversified. I buy both gold and silver.